finché un down, nunca sta in giro, solo che mi tocca tutto cagare.
Hey, I'm Jason Brown with Sierra Wave Laughing Parrot Productions, and it's really exciting to have Police Chief Nate Derr back in the studio. It's been a while.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah, we got off of our monthly,
Our regular
schedule.
I think you had some type of meeting or something, and then we just, life.
But back now.
Life happens. But you've had a lot of things going on. You had the Citizens Academy going on. You, I think, have new employees and city stuff. So don't know why I'm sitting here except for to introduce that part.
No, it's good conversation.
So let's start with the Citizens Academy because that just wrapped up. And tell us about it.
Well, Sergeant Scobie
Yeah.
with our department, several years back when he was working with Mammoth Lakes Police Department, he had a series of citizens or community police academies. Kind of gives a glimpse into the other side of law enforcement, not just what you see on TV, but like, and how it's done locally. And it kind of also it's a good community outreach so that different law enforcement officers or agencies in the area can interact directly with just regular community members, and they can have a little bit of insight, build a little bit of rapport. It worked really well up there. And then, so this year he decided to try to bring it back and do it down here in Bishop for anyone in the area could apply. So he capped it at 15 students for the first time to begin with, just for, instructor ratios. But we had a very successful community academy. It was well received. We had participating agencies from different classes, from anywhere from the sheriff's office to CHP to Fish and Wildlife, the DA's office, the court side of things. It was pretty comprehensive. Obviously, he organized it and coordinated it, and off of his experience, he did a phenomenal job. He's fired up, and I think other people are fired up to be able to do it. An additional one next year, possibly two.
Oh, cool.
And it'd be the only one thing that a lot of people say, which I agree with, is like maybe do something like this into the school. So I think it's a great idea. Working it with the school and school calendar and stuff. I mean, obviously there's some more challenges, so we'll work on that. But yeah, it was a phenomenal piece to add to our more or less citizen outreach and to educate a little bit of the community. So
it's just basically like they don't get any like they're not becoming police officers.
No.
This is just to help them be more educated on what law enforcement does and around our area.
Yeah, and even like locally, like we'll have Chief Thompson with probation came in and went on the probation side of things, and what happens, what probation even is, and what probation is now compared to what it was 10 years ago before AB 109 and different things that have come into play. So, and then, so they can also see the process of the arrest to all the way through the court system to, whether they're, jail or probation or that whole aspect. So just kind of give everyone a better understanding of what really happens and kind of put some faces and names of who's in those positions. So
awesome. And you couldn't have a nicer person do the job than Sergeant Scobie.
No, he is
just a wonderful human being.
He 100% is. He has a very, very kind heart, and but he's also very meticulous, very organized. So
this pen, helps. That paper, that would really bother him.
That would bother him. So he's very detailed, so things go smoothly. So
I got it.
That's very
it's
good
very good.
And we even we had a like a kind of commencement little graduation stuff with some certificates and stuff that we handed out on this last Friday. And kindly enough, the tribe, they catered a whole dinner for everyone.
Wow.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. So they're even involved in this program.
Yeah, we did a tribal law course in there, and Chief Allen came out and taught the tribal law, and they offered up and did a phenomenal feed for everyone at the end. So it was really a great it was a great community service from their end too.
Awesome. So obviously you hear the police radio. We're gonna let that be. We don't care. And, tell us about these new employees you got.
Well, yeah, I know we've talked before, and you always were asking like, so what's new with hiring and that, and it takes process. There's obviously a background process and all that you're familiar with. But yeah, we're excitingly I don't know if I talked when the last time we talked that but we hired Officer Burton. He's been a long time. He grew up here, went to high school here, generational. He has a decade of experience in law enforcement. We were able to pick him up in July and beginning of July, and then after that we were able to get Officer West.
Okay.
Phil West. He's the law enforcement family. His dad was retired Mono County undersheriff. He also grew up in the area, in the valley his whole life. So it's good to have some roots in our department. We also have one dispatcher in backgrounds waiting to finish, but we were able to hire a new dispatcher, Haley Hursley. She's also multi-generational.
In the
Knows the
valley
area in
here.
the valley, knows the area, knows the people. It just kind of helps with that connection a
Yeah,
little bit.
especially when they're picking
So-
up that phone and they're a common person that they know.
Exactly. A lot of times when you see people in a small community,
Mhm.
you see someone and it's automatic community policing de-escalation right there.
There you
When
go.
someone you know shows up in your worst situation or answers the phone in the worst situation, and you can connect with them. Haley actually was in a high-stress environment anyway. She was working in the emergency room here at the hospital.
It's probably going to lower
So-
stress than now.
It,
Maybe. It depends on the
may be.
day, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It really does depend
definitely-
on the day.
Yeah.
Those
Um,
911 calls still come in, right? So.
Yeah, it's feast or famine in there
Yeah.
all the time, feast or famine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that very exciting to be able to do that.
That's cool.
To bring on some people and bolster our staffing back up to where it should be. So yeah, that's very exciting. And we have, like I said, we have one more dispatcher that's finishing the background process. So-
Awesome. So city business related to the PD, is there new legislation or what was it that you were telling me?
So there's new ordinances.
Ordinances.
So yeah, so
One is no peeing in public, right?
one is no peeing in public.
I saw that.
So a lot about what happens is, like, just to explain a quick little synopsis on ordinances, you have, there's federal law, there's state law, like most of what we operate as is state law in the penal code, vehicle code, welfare institution code. There's the whole slew of them, but a lot of times city specific or county specific, or where there's gaps in state legislator that doesn't fill needs that we need in our area,
Okay.
then there's specific ordinances that go into effect to make local law.
Okay.
So going through, and I honestly, like I said in the council meeting, like I actually don't like really a lot of overbearing law enforcement, but there's some basic things in there that going through our ordinances, we're lacking quite a few ordinances. So I feel bad, but we've cranked out 3 simultaneously recently, and we do have an e-bike one that's coming too. So I apologize, but there's some things that have to be addressed. The first one was smoking ordinance. It follows very similar to the state law already.
That's kind of similar to what Mammoth and everybody in Mono County all adopted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very similar. Theirs is even a little maybe more overreaching than what ours is, but it's to protect both, so that smokers can smoke and non-smokers don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So that's a fine balance of everyone's different freedoms of choices. So it's not trying to say that
Like you can't be smoking in a park, but you can be smoking in your backyard if your backyard is up against the park.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Simple no-brainer stuff.
Yeah, that's a very no-brainer. The other no-brainer one is urinating and defecating in public spaces. We literally, unfortunately, do have to deal with that quite frequently recently. When I was walking in here, I had officers out dealing with it right now. So the smoking one actually is in effect right now. The other 2 I'm talking about, the urination one and the camping one, that won't go into effect till December 12th.
Okay.
Because it was 30 days after the adoption, so it's coming quickly.
What's the no camping one?
Well, no camping one is now that one. So most cities and a lot of counties had no camping ordinances in place. There was the Boise decision, the Grants Pass decision, that were put a stay on that and couldn't enforce them. And then the Supreme Court earlier this year reversed that, said it is not unconstitutional to enforce. It's not cruel and unusual punishment to enforce anti-camping, anti-encampment laws.
And that would be like
So-
someone camping in front of my house. I could call you and you would come and
Exactly.
disperse them.
So if it's private property, the property owner has jurisdiction over their own property. Public property, like the sidewalk in front of your house, is
Even
an
though it's my
easement.
property, it's an easement. Yeah.
they could,
A lot
people
of people
could,
don't understand that.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And
That-
that's where the problems were in LA with everybody, is even though it's their property, it's a public easement, so they
Yes.
could set up and they could camp, and there's nothing as a homeowner you could do. But
That is-
now we can.
Yes, that is 100% true. That's exactly kind of what it's geared towards. It I mean, like I said before, it's a very, very small piece of a giant puzzle when it comes to camping. And this isn't just aimed at homeless people. This is we're a tourist attraction, an outdoor area, but we also are a business economy, and we need our businesses to thrive as well. So, like, as much as we want people to come in here and be a part of our community and, you know, experience our phenomenal topography and
Yes.
outdoor settings, we also would like them to stay in our motels and eat in our restaurants and, you know, use our campgrounds, because we survive off of that. Like, you're a private industry, but I work for the government. Like
Well, so is my wife.
yeah, your wife, yeah. All of that is tax based,
Right.
and that's how the economy flows. So, you know, we're not trying to be anti any of that, but like, we do want to promote, you know, people to come and use our establishments
Right.
to be able to travel. So it's not just in like people were talking about an anti like homeless. It's not anti-homeless. There are some homeless people that we are going to contact because of that, but hopefully within that process, we were able to provide them with some resources and
That's
maybe
good.
get them on a map so that we can maybe start to work with them. Hopefully, obviously there's you know, resources are thin, and I understand that. And hopefully maybe it'll also prevent, since our resources are thin, the people that are here can maybe receive those resources instead of inviting more people to come in and heavily impact them and hurt our local population that is already, you know, strapped for resources as well. So it's a multifaceted approach. It's just one tiny, tiny, tiny piece of, like I said, a huge puzzle that everyone's trying to solve in the state and within the nation. But like, it's just a start, a stepping block. Yeah, so those were all just recently passed. So there's quite a bit of movement on that end as well. So.
And just so people know, the urination, defecation in public is not just a homeless thing. I was pulling into Taco Bell, and in the first spot was a nice, beautiful Mercedes Benz, and the guy was standing there showing everything, just peeing in the parking lot, when literally he had to walk his 50 feet into the Taco Bell.
Oh yeah.
And then he gets into his Mercedes Benz and he heads south.
One of our biggest,
and I think the Tesla stations.
Exactly. One of our biggest spurring on of this was actually the Tesla station, because you know, gas stations are set to, they have to have facilities and all of that, but a lot of these charging stations don't have that. So
And
all
they
of
have
those
to go.
poor businesses that are around that Tesla lot are having to deal with people urinating and defecating at their lot. I'm not against people going and charging their vehicles and going and eating at Mercado. That's awesome.
Right, use
But
the bathroom there.
they need to, you know, there's no facility for them. So that actually is a lot what spurred this on. Gives us some teeth in that aspect. I know, I mean, it's not just us that are dealing with it. The one out by Rite Aid's dealing with it as well.
Western Film History
Oh,
Museum down there had a
Yep.
problem with, they had to put cameras up, and the cameras didn't even stop them
Disturb.
from doing it.
Yeah. So we do, I mean, there is cameras going into that Tesla lot as well. So to help us on that side, but if you have cameras that can catch it, but you have no way to enforce it, how are you gonna, it's mute point. So,
Right.
you know, we got to have some enforcement backing that up too. Just to, we want people to walk around our city and feel welcome and not be worried
Exactly.
about, or watching people urinate or defecate or running into, you know, having people camp in front of your house. Or
They're going to be, well, I've never had it happen, but I was just using that as an example. It's going to be hard to enforce that. I mean, you got to kind of catch them in the act, or you have the video, right?
Yes. Yes.
The other one, the smoking one, I think that's going to be hard too, because I mean, it cracks me up. Like, I'll go to the park to set up for an event, and there's two people sitting there smoking underneath the sign. And the same as right down there by Amigos.
Yes.
So there's no smoking. There they are.
And they're right there. But
And sometimes it's not cigarettes or
oh no,
marijuana, it's other things.
no, for sure. And
And they don't care.
once you get out of the cigarette and marijuana stuff, there's obviously state law that we can enforce on that as well. But yeah,
And you'll have more teeth in that now, since they just passed the.
We will have more teeth in that. coming up
Okay.
with the Prop 36.
Right.
You're
That's
saying
it. Yes. Thank you.
that was a huge on law enforcement side. That was a huge win for us.
Yeah.
And that was obviously backed by Cal chiefs and state sheriffs, and the law was actually written by the California Association of District Attorneys and with input, but that's a longer story. But
We should do that in December.
Yeah.
Before it goes into effect, you come and give us the background on what's going to be different with that law and how it's going to affect people in Bishop committing those crimes.
yeah, that I'd be more than welcome.
Because I know
to
the grocery
give them-
outlet gets robbed, other businesses get robbed. You got these smoking crack in public and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah, there's tons of that. So
you can come back and you can tell us how that affects all that.
yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be cool.
I'd be more than welcome to.
Well, we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
You got to come back more often.
Well, that's because we were gone for so long. So we just got to get back on a regular schedule.
Yeah, we will.
I bet.
Guys, Police Chief Nate Derr, thank you for coming in, and hope you guys enjoyed and were educated. I'm Jason Brown. This is Chief Derr.
Hello, this is Jimmy T and the amazing Donna Bird. Recently, there's been an announcement from Mule Days. Donna, tell us. Welcome. It's great to see you, like always.
Well, here we are. We're kicking off another year, so we're going to get to be together a lot.
So we kept calm and muled on, and what just happened?
So the board has given the okay to move ahead with 2025, Bishop Mule Days 2025. Mike Francisconi at the fair, the interim CEO, has been fantastic to work with. And we are mere days away from having our 2025 contract, which is just beyond fantastic because this is so much earlier than we normally have our contracts. And Mike, in his wisdom, and like I said, he's been fantastic to work with. He's not here long term, but he is here as the interim CEO. And he instantly recognized the importance of all the events that happen at the fairgrounds, including Mule Days, and recognizes the importance of and value of Mule Days to the community. And as such, he has put together a much more sustainable contract for us financially. That has been an issue the last few years, as that price has increased, and when your price goes up and your direct financial return on what you get to use on the grounds has steadily decreased, it has put us in an uncomfortable position. And we are very grateful to Mike for recognizing that and, like I said, creating a sustainable contract for us.
So talk to me about sustainable funds. What do you need to have in the bank effectively today, every day, to keep going?
Well, to keep the doors open on the Mule Days office, it is $12,000 a month. And
$144,000 approximately.
right. And that includes the lease that and that has nothing to do with the contract that we pay to use the grounds for the 10 days that Mule Days happens. That's completely separate. But what the $12,000 a month is my salary, which I am the only paid full-time employee of Mule Days. So it's not like we have we're not top heavy with staff. Let's put it that way. And my dog doesn't get paid. So it's just me. So it is rent on our office. It is my salary. It is our general liability insurance that we have to carry, which is a whopping $35,000 a year. It is directors and officers insurance, which has quadrupled up to $12,000. Thank you, California. And as well as just, general, the copier, the software, the keeping the lights on.
Utility, yes.
And so it costs $12,000 a year to keep that office running, and a month, excuse me, a month. Right. I wish it was a year.
Yes.
Yeah, but that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? But anyway, and that is the bare minimum. And then as we start approaching the event, then we have our contract for use of the grounds. Pardon me. We have equipment rental. We have trash service. We have septic service. We have, the list grows and grows and grows quite a bit. So it's an expensive event to put on. It costs money to make money. And like I said, our costs have risen. And I have to say also that excuse me, I seem to have caught a bit of a cold this morning, so I'm sorry. Additionally, as a one-time a year event, you literally have that one time to make your income for the entire year. So let's step back to 2020. We were shut down.
Mhm.
So we were not even a one time a year event. And that is financially devastating.
Yes.
And so we had basically no income for 2020, with the exception of the reservations and the tickets that we had already sold prior to being shut down. A good percentage of those people said, roll my money over to next year. And that was literally the only reason we could keep our doors open. So 2020, we have X amount of income. 21 rolls around, and the state, in its infinite wisdom, says you cannot sell all of your tickets. You can only sell a certain percentage, because you had to space people out. Remember that lovely thing where you couldn't be close to anybody? So we really could not sell any more tickets. So we literally survived 2 years on not even a full year's worth of income. And that forced us to dip into our reserves, which we had some reserves. But in order to survive the next 2 or 3 years, we had to utilize our reserves. Well, the reserves are gone. And so it is time to start fundraising and replenish those reserves so that we have the funds to get past 2025. We have funds to get to 2025. But we don't want to be in the same boat moving forward. And we're not in this for short term.
Hello, I'm Jeff Gabriel with Sierra Forever, formerly the Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association, and we have 2 exciting events coming up the first part of December. That is the Backcountry Film Festival, which is a collection of films highlighting the human-powered winter recreation in the winter landscape. The first showing of these films will take place on Thursday, December 12th, doors opening at 6 o'clock p.m., films at 7 o'clock p.m., and this will happen at the Mammoth Lakes Visitor Center. The second showing of the films will happen on Saturday, December 14th, here in Bishop, California at the Twin Theaters. And again, doors open at 6 o'clock p.m., and the show is at 7 o'clock p.m. For both showings on December 12th and December 14th, it's $25. All proceeds from this film showing on both events goes to the Eastern Sierra Snow School. Again, put on your calendar, December 12th, Thursday, Mammoth Lakes Visitor Center, or Saturday, December 14th, the Twin Theaters here in Bishop, California for the Mountain Film on Tour. Again, I'm Jeff Gabriel with Sierra Forever. Educate, inspire, explore.
You will go to England as our spy.
We have devised a plot to assassinate the Führer.
I'm ready to meet my destiny.
You're gonna be popular. I got us tickets. Everyone will be there.
Wicked, rated PG. In theaters November 22nd.